Hello, my soul family. Welcome to our first class of the Atlantis Lost Civilization. In this class, we are going to delve deep into the past of this ancestral lineage and civilization that has been lost in the physical world, but I feel like it's still alive in the spiritual world. So we're going to bring in some new materials today. And I'm so excited because I just did a spirituality retreat yesterday for this new moon in Scorpio, as I'm doing this in the year 2020. And we're entering almost winter as well. And I was really connecting to this energy of the Iceland because it has been said, it's a theory, and I believe this theory might be true, that the Atlantis civilization in spirit still lies beneath the Iceland waters. Now this is a very smart way to hide basically from humanity, because if you take a look at the workshop that I did last year on the Atlantis and the Lemurian civilization, it is said that the Lemurian civilization is still alive, but they live in spirit beneath the Mount Shasta because they didn't see any point in being here on Earth anymore, because it was too harsh, and they were afraid that people might take advantage of their abilities, and with good reason, right? Because humanity is very corrupted, and this civilization per se were not humans, which is why they were able to hide away in spirit. It's kind of like they put on an invisibility cloak, you could say, and they hid their civilization beneath the earth, beneath the ground, even beneath the plates. You know, when you have earthquakes, it's a plate shift that's happening on beneath the earth. They live down there. And I feel like the Atlantis ancestors are coming to us today to help us to illuminate more light in this world. Because we are also the keepers of light, and they are our direct ancestors. If you're watching this video and you resonate with the Atlantis civilization, then chances are that you have some sort of connection and lineage with them. And there's a part of you that is Atlantean. And there might have been also the past life that you can remember, these gifts that you hold within, because you are part of that group. You are part of that council of light as well. Because since they are the keepers of the light, this means that they are not from this earth. This means that they are starseeds, and this is where this relates as well. So all of these extra courses that I'm teaching here in the School of Light is going to help us to bridge this bigger picture together. Because there are just some things that are not in history books. Because first of all, not everyone believes in it. Second of all, not everyone has access to this information because they are very discreet with this ancient sacred knowledge. Only for those who will use it for good, and only for those who will truly understand. And the only way to truly understand is if you have some part of your DNA that is one with that, right? Because it's kind of like trying to understand a culture, and you're not part of that culture, and you have no background in your family lineage with that culture. It's going to be very difficult for you to really, truly, empathically understand unless you have some form of connection, right? So this is how this relates. Unless you really have some sort of connection, which if you're watching these classes, chances is that you are. Now it's just about remembering it, because trust that when you're reborn in this incarnated life, all your memory of past life is completely wiped and erased for higher purposes. This is things that we learn in my Starseed Transmissions and Cosmic Consciousness show, which is now named the Beyond the Stars show. It's called Beyond the Stars. So that's going to be a new class that's also coming up, so that we can help to understand even deeper stuff in the cosmos, how this relates to Earth and the different planets and the different civilizations that came here once. Because if you take a look at my Egyptian mythology, the Egyptians who had all this sacred knowledge and this vortex energy in how they were able to create the pyramids, which has become a vortex chakra on Earth, they were said, the myth, that they were actually Syrians from the star of Sirius, just like Jesus Christ and Mary Magdalene, incarnated here to help humanity. from the inside out, because no longer could that be enough helping from the outside, right? Because not everyone was believing. Humanity was becoming very corrupt, so they came in to save the day, basically, just like superheroes. And that's how Jesus came in. He came in during a very dark time. He came in during the dark ages, and he came to illuminate the way and to teach what it is to walk in unconditional love, so that we can ascend in this bigger experiment, grander experiment is what I was going to say, of humanity, the race of humanity. And that's what we learned in my Cosmic Consciousness show, in the Beyond the Stars show, because I renamed it. But it's about cosmic consciousness and extra starseed transmissions that I transmit there, basically that I channel. And so for this particular course, I want to go over only the Atlantean civilization. We might get to the Lemurian as well towards the end, because remember that the Lemurians actually stemmed from the benevolent Atlanteans falling in love with the humans and then creating a new race, which is the Lemurians. And they were said to live, basically inhabit the island called Mu back in the day. This is part of the ancient map, which I want to get a hold of that as well. But we do have a map here in this book that I'm going to teach you. And the reason why the Atlantean civilization got destroyed in God's eye is because they were very corrupt. They were very war-oriented and very much violent-driven. And that's what basically ruined their civilization. But they held a lot of crystalline powers and potential, which is why they misused that power. You understand? Just like the Egyptians. When the pharaohs, which were more human afterwards, started to misuse these powers of the high priestesses and the high priests back in the day, with all of these oracle divinations and ability to have this heightened intuition, they misused those powers for purposes of actual power. They wanted to rule the world, and they wanted to be a god. And this is when they let their ego take over, and they forgot who truly God was, which is the one source above. There's only one God. And they needed to remember that they were created by God. So they became so prideful that they wanted to be God, and they wanted people to worship them like they were a god. And that's what set their path to destruction, basically. Because that's not the way of light, and that's not the reason why God put us on this earth. But of course in the Bible it says, after the Noah's Ark, which is the last time that God actually destroyed a civilization, he promised us that he would never do that again. By water, right? Because chances are, if you think of it, the Atlantis sinking was a flood by water. So God destroyed the human civilizations many times by water. And then he promised he would never do it again by water. But he never promised, by the other earth elements, which are earth, the other elements, which are earth. Think of like earthquakes, think of any kind of natural disaster. He never promised by fire, and he never promised by air, which could be plagues, could be illness, right? All of these things. And the Atlanteans are coming back, the benevolent ones, the ones of light, to tell us that we can save humanity with the actions that we take in our individual life, and how that's going to inspire the collective. And the more individuals come together in this new collective unison with the same mission in mind, which is to keep ascending, then we might be able to save this planet. So that's a huge message for today, because if you think about it, the Atlanteans are also associated with a lot of movie and film in Hollywood when it comes to superheroes. And if you take a look at superhero movies, think of like the superhero movies that was the ones with all the DC heroes, like Superman was in it, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, all of the different areas of superheroes. And they all had the movie was the theme of always saving the world and the struggle of darkness and light. It always comes down to the same thing, which is a message in subtle forms from higher beings that are telling us that there are many struggles happening behind in the spiritual realms. And what we are experiencing in this moment in time in the year 2020 also has a lot to do with this struggle of darkness and light in the subtle spiritual realms. And the more that we can open up our minds to learn about this, then maybe we can do something to help. And you might just be surprised at the revelations as to what your unique purpose is, and how that unique purpose and talent of yours can actually contribute to this greater whole and to this greater mission, because we are all superheroes trying to save the world. So we need to make sure that in order to do this, we stay in alignment, body, mind, and spirit. We connect to this crystalline energy that's going to help us to heal, help us to see the light, and help to heighten our spiritual psychic gifts. Open up our spiritual eye to see beyond the veil of illusion and see the truth for what it is, which is that the light always wins, that there's only one God, and that we are all part of this one love. God loves us all, and God is here to help us all. So our ancestors are really coming through in my School of Light a lot, through all different generations, civilizations, lineages, and they're all coming for the same purpose. So definitely check out my School of Light, ChristieRamirez.com. Become a member and take a look at these classes. I promise you that it's going to expand your mind, elevate your consciousness, and really help you to understand this deeper truth. Because there's one thing knowing it, and then there's one thing truly understanding it, and then there's another thing actually embodying it and being this living vessel, an ambassador for this spiritual truth. So come and join me. I'm wishing you all an amazing and beautiful day. My name is Christie Ramirez, and I am a soul coach, and I am here to help spread this light, to be this beacon of hope, and to shine this spiritual truth. Have an amazing and beautiful day. Namaste.